Hi, my name is Reagan Smollen, and I'm here with Paul Mostyn, who is the Senior Manager of Quality and Lab Services. And today we're going to be talking with him about his position at Westway and his time here. So you recently celebrated your 30-year anniversary.
Correct.
What kind of things kept you here for Westway, and what made it memorable for the 30 years?
A lot of that had to do with the people that I work with. They've allowed me to do things that I like to do, and they've given me a lot of flexibility as it relates to how I get those done.
And what is your favorite memory from your time here?
The most memorable is probably our patent development. That would be one thing that was very, very memorable. And then the transition from brill to best mix.
Awesome. And obviously things have changed in 30 years. So what have you seen change in the liquid feed industry as you have been here at Westway?
Ooh, the biggest changes that I think have made a big impact on the liquid feed industry is just the technical side of it. So we've come up with a lot more products that are a lot more technical than it used to just be a molasses urea phos acid type of blend or a simple suspension. The technology advances for things like the room away products, things like that, to where we're actually looking to solve a problem that's related to a dairy feed or a beef feed or a pasture type of supplement. That's probably the big changes that I've seen. It's just that those technological advances from something that's simple to something that's a lot more complex.
Paul, you along with Dr. Joe Harris have helped develop SOPs at Westway. How are these standards important?
Well, they give our operators a set of guidelines to follow so they know when they've made product correctly. These were developed based on formula predictions and then what we were hoping to accomplish with that specific product. So we've assigned mainly pH and refractive index values for the plant to have a quick check before they actually ship a load.
So working in the lab, can you tell me a little bit about how you go about testing and developing new co-products?
Well, we usually find out Bill or Mark or someone will come to us, or even one of our salespeople will say, hey, there's a new co-product out here, can we use it? The first thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that there's an ingredient definition for it. So we'll either talk to an AFCO representative, or we'll look in the AFCO handbook and see if we can find a definition that will actually match. Once we find that, then we can do a little bit more evaluation. The first thing we do is check mainly the dry matter and see what the dry matter is and what the price is. If the dry matter is really low and we can't ship it very far, so we know it has to be really, really close to one of our facilities. If the dry matter is high enough and we think that there's some value, then we'll start evaluating the components. We'll look at the crude protein, we'll look at the moisture, dry matter. We may look at the sugar content. It just kind of depends. We've looked at things like pomegranate juice and carrot juice and a variety of different things, and they all have a certain amount of sugar that could actually contribute, so there is a energy factor that's associated with that. Once we have that information, then we'll start looking at different formulas that we might want to put it in. Could it go into a suspension? Could it go into a liquid supplement? We'll evaluate the pH and the refractive index. We also try to get some idea from the supplier how consistent this product is actually going to be. Are we going to see dry matter ranges that are really, really wide, and it's going to make that product very, very difficult to use? Will the fat content or the sugar content vary greatly? So we'll evaluate all of that, and then we'll start trying to mix it into different products. Are we going to have a reaction with, say, a limestone type of product, or are we going to have some sort of reaction that causes a thickening or a thinning type of effect once that ingredient is actually added? Then we can start looking at bringing that in and evaluating the volume of that product that's available, and we can build a program around that ingredient.
So what do you enjoy most about working at Westway?
Other than the people, I enjoy the flexibility to try to make the company successful. I have a lot of flexibility as it relates to different evaluations, and I do get to interact with customers, which initially when I hired on 30 years ago I didn't think I would like. I did not want to be in sales, but over time that interaction with customers actually helps our product development. What kind of problems are they facing? Is there anything that we can do to kind of help out their situation? But that interaction between our customers and our salespeople, I really enjoy that as well.
Okay, and what are some challenges you've faced?
Time.
And how have you overcome that?
Time is probably the biggest challenge because there are things that have to get done. Kelly has a great example of we have what's urgent and what's basically on fire, and what's important versus what's urgent. So we end up working on a lot of stuff that's urgent, and we don't get to a lot of the stuff that's important. So the time is probably the biggest challenge that I think a lot of us actually have.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. And it's been really great to get to know you a little bit more and, of course, celebrate 30 years at Westway. That's a big achievement. But yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course.